we're in the same boat. All of us parents, we're tapped out, we're tired, we feel kind of like crap. So, like, I wish I actually had a magic formula, but I really don't. And I'm going to save you guys a whole whackload of time and a whole whackload of money, and just tell you that this whole sleeping through the night and you know, hiring sleep therapists and whatever, like, it's all just nonsense and it's all just garbage. Every baby is different. I've had 3 kids now, but all 3 of my kids slept completely differently. I did pretty much the exact same thing with all 3 of them, and some were good, some were bad, some are better than others. Babies have short sleep cycles. They could be anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. Now, I am not a sleep expert, but this is what I've come to realize. Some babies have an easier way transitioning from that 30 to 40 minute sleep cycle and going into the next sleep cycle, and some don't. And I don't really do anything different than you guys. I put my baby to bed, I swaddle him, I make sure that his room is super dark, I make sure that there's a really loud sound machine on. I do all of these things. Now, I did all these things with Johannes, I did it with Magnus, and I did it with Henrik. Johannes, he was a pretty good sleeper early on. Magnus, terrible. He was awful sleeper, awful napper. He never napped more than 30 minutes until he was probably like 7 or 8 months old, and nothing helped. Henrik is somewhere in between. He's not amazing, but he's not terrible. He has some good sleep patterns and some not so good sleep patterns. At the end of the day, I am not sleeping any more than the majority of you guys. I find his morning naps are usually, those 30 minutes are enough for him to be rested and happy. And if I go into his room and he's awake and I look at him and he looks sleepy, then sometimes I know that I might have like more success at putting him back to bed. But sometimes I go in there and the kid is bright-eyed and happy and he's giggling to me, and like, there's no way he's going back to bed. So what do? Nothing. I just pick him up, I unswaddle him, and I have fun with my baby, because I can't spend my life trying to get him to sleep. And at this point, again, after having 3 kids, I've just come to realize that it is what it is. I'm not going to stress about it. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try 1, 2, maybe 3 times to get him through to the next sleep cycle, or get him to go to sleep. And if he doesn't go to sleep, well then, whatever. I just open up his blinds, I take him out, and we go and we do something. My kids have always had like a pretty early need to go to sleep, so I find somewhere around 5:30 Henrik is tired, he's exhausted. Even though he had a nap at 4 p.m, by 5:30 he's just, you know, he's unhappy, he's not settling, he's not happy just sitting on my lap, he's rubbing his face. So I put him to bed. And sometimes when I put him to bed, he stays asleep, but he doesn't wake up again. And other times, like the last few nights, he wakes up again maybe at 6:30, 6:45 or so, and then he's wide awake, and you know, he had a little bit of sleep and then he's no longer tired. So at that point, I pick him up, I go and I sit with him on the porch, I have a glass of wine, or I enjoy my dinner that I hadn't gotten to enjoy before, or Michael and I will just spend some time with him in our bedroom, and that's kind of it. I think the reason why this whole sleep therapy and sleep, whatever you want to call it, like, you know, sleep helpers exist and they make a living out of it, is because we're all tired, and because we're all in the same boat, and because we're all hoping for some miracle that's going to get our kids to sleep. And there is no miracle that's going to get our kids to sleep. It's all just a hope and a prayer, and one day they'll sleep, because they're not going to be 16 waking us up 3, 4, or 5 times a night. If anything, I will be going in there 3, 4, 5 times a night, waking them up. It's all about bribes. Like, I bribe my children, and I have no shame in saying that. Unfortunately, Henrik is too small to be bribed, but he will be bribed soon enough with whatever I can figure out around the house. So sometimes I get lucky and they sleep till 6 a.m. I would say 75% of the time both the older boys are up before 6. And Henrik is awake somewhere around 5:30 as well. So I don't do anything. We go downstairs, I make myself the biggest cup of coffee that I can find and I drink it. And then Henrik gets tired again around 6:30 or so, 7 o'clock, anywhere between 6:30 and 7. And then I come upstairs, I put him down, and that's usually a nap. And that's the time that I get to get ready and get Johannes and Magnus ready for school or the day or whatever. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, just embrace this really crappy sleep deprived time. It is what it is. You're not alone. There's like millions of moms everywhere that are sleep deprived. I mean, I think the only thing you can really do is let them cry it out if that's your thing. And I'm not judging. My parents let me cry it out and I turned out okay, I think. Still love my mom. But at the end of the day, like, that's not for me, so I don't do that. So I just rock them and hug them and pat their bum and do pretty much anything I can to get them to sleep. Ooh, and if you want to work in a bit of a workout, what I've realized is when you're rocking your baby to sleep, it helps if you do lunges and squats. Or the hokey pokey. Sometimes I do the hokey pokey. Okay, bye guys.